I had a panic attack after my daughter set me up to meet my abuser to let go of the past. So her siblings dragged her name through the mud. 24 years ago, I was assaulted by someone I thought was a close friend. I was inconsolable for months. Then, I found out I was pregnant. At a 20 weeks along, too late for an abortion where I live. My husband became my entire world during that time. He told me we had options. Adoption or keeping the baby and raising it as ours. No judgment, just support. I couldn't give the baby up, but raising Luna was harder than I ever imagined. See, my husband and I are both pale, light-haired, blue-eyed. Luna came out with dark hair, brown skin, looking exactly like her biological father. People stared. They whispered. I heard the comments everywhere we went. At the grocery store. At parent-teacher conferences. Must not be her husband's kid. Wonder who the real father is. I tried. God, I tried so hard to be a good mother to her. But every time I looked at her face, I saw him. The flashbacks were unbearable. My husband ended up doing most of the parenting. Luna grew up closer to him than to me, and honestly, he gave her a little extra attention to compensate for what I couldn't give her. We never told her the truth. We just said her bio dad and I got into a bad fight and never spoke again. It seemed kinder than the alternative. Everything was manageable until 2 years ago when Luna bought one of those DNA test kits. She found a relative in the system who connected her with him. I started talking to him regularly. I begged her not to told her it was a bad idea. She insisted she had a right to know her biological father. I couldn't argue with that without telling her everything, so I just asked her to respect my boundaries. She promised she would. Then last month Luna got engaged to a wonderful guy. We were all so happy for her. The plan was simple. My husband walks her down the aisle. He earned that right 1,000 times over. But 3 weeks before the wedding, my husband got into a bad car accident, nothing life-threatening, but he's in a wheelchair while his legs heal. He'll walk again, just not in time for the wedding. I suggested alternatives. Her brother could walk her. I could push my husband's wheelchair down the aisle. A bridesmaid could help. Luna shot down every option. Then she dropped the bomb. She'd invited her biological father to walk her down the aisle instead. My husband's face went completely white. This man who loved her unconditionally, who'd gotten up for every midnight feeding, who'd taught her to ride a bike, attended every school play, paid for her college, replaced because he was temporarily in a wheelchair. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I told her absolutely not. If he was there, I wouldn't be. Luna got defensive, said I was being dramatic, that I needed to let go of the past and stop holding grudges. She said it was her special day and she deserved to have the wedding she'd always dreamed of. She actually said her bio dad deserved a chance to be part of her life in a meaningful way. I snapped, told her she had no idea what she was talking about, that she should stay out of things she didn't understand. She left crying, saying I was trying to ruin her wedding. That night, my husband was furious. Not just hurt, furious. And he did something I never expected. He called our other 3 kids and told them everything. The assault, the pregnancy, why Luna looked different, why I struggled with her growing up, and what she'd just done. Within 2 hours, Luna's phone was exploding. Her older brother called her selfish and cruel. Her younger sister said she was ashamed to be related to her. Her other brother told her she'd broken Dad's heart for aesthetic wedding photos. My extended family started reaching out, cousins, aunts, uncles, all asking her what the hell she was thinking. My husband called Luna, said they needed to talk face to face. She came over and I listened from the kitchen. He told her everything, his voice shaking, explaining what her biological father did, why I struggled, how much he loved her anyway. Long silence. Then Luna said, I know something happened, Dad, but people remember things differently when they're hurt. He told me you guys convinced Mom it was worse than it was because you wanted to keep me. My husband started crying. Luna's voice stayed steady. I'm not saying Mom's lying. I'm just saying maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle and I need him there. I heard my husband take this shaky breath, like he was trying not to completely break down. Luna, he said, and his voice cracked. There is no middle ground here. There's no somewhere in between. What happened to your mother was 24 years ago, Luna interrupted. She wasn't yelling, which somehow made it worse. Her voice was calm, matter of fact, like she was explaining something obvious to a child. And I've talked to him for 2 years now, Dad. 2 years. He's told me his side of everything. I had to grip the kitchen counter to stay upright. My hands were shaking so badly I knocked over the salt shaker his side. My husband's voice went flat, dangerous. I'd only heard him sound like that maybe twice in our entire marriage. Yeah, his side, Luna said, and I could hear her getting defensive now. He told me about how he and Mom had a thing, you know, before you guys were serious, and when she found out she was pregnant, she panicked because you'd just proposed and... Stop, my husband's voice cut through like a knife. Stop talking right now. No, Dad, you need to hear this. Luna pushed on. I heard her stand up, her chair scraping against our hardwood floor. He said Mom regretted it and didn't want to mess up her relationship with you, so she told you it was assault. He said you convinced her that's what happened because you wanted to keep her. The silence that followed felt like it lasted an hour. Get out, my husband finally said. Dad, get out of my house. His voice broke on the last word. If you believe that, if you actually believe your mother would lie about being raped, then I don't know who you are anymore. I heard Luna's footsteps, quick and angry. The front door opened, then slammed shut hard enough to rattle the picture frames on the walls. My husband found me in the kitchen about 5 minutes later. I was just standing there, staring at nothing, tears running down my face. He didn't say anything, just pulled me into his arms while I sobbed into his shoulder. The next morning, Luna's siblings showed up at her apartment. I didn't ask them to. Honestly, I didn't even know they were planning it until our oldest, Jake, called me from her parking lot. We're going to talk some sense into her, he said. His voice was hard in a way I'd never heard before. Jake was our gentle kid, the peacemaker. We brought the photo albums. Jake, I don't think... Mom, she needs to see this. She needs to remember who actually raised her. They spent 3 hours at her place. When Jake called me afterward, he sounded exhausted. She doesn't get it, Mom. We showed her everything. Every single picture of Dad at her dance recitals, her soccer games, teaching her to drive. We showed her the father-daughter dance at Aunt Jen's wedding where she stepped on his feet for 10 minutes straight and he just laughed. What did she say? I asked, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. She said it proves nothing except that Dad's a good person. Which she already knows. Jake's voice was bitter. She said her bio dad wasn't given a chance to be involved because you poisoned everyone against him. Then she told us to leave and called her fiancé crying about us ambushing her. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry you had to. Don't apologize, Mom. She's the one who should be sorry. But Luna wasn't sorry. Over the next few days, her fiancé, Tyler, started calling my husband just to check in. He said, but we could. I tell he was worried. Luna's not herself, Tyler admitted during one call. She's obsessed with the wedding. Like, not excited about getting married, just obsessed with everything going exactly as planned. She's rechecking vendor contracts at 2 a.m. She's color-coding seating charts for hours. My husband suggested maybe they should postpone, just until things calm down with the family situation. Tyler went quiet for a second. I mentioned that yesterday, he said carefully. She had a complete meltdown, started crying that postponing would mean admitting she's wrong, and she's not wrong. Tyler dash dash. I know, Tyler said. Trust me, I know. It's like she's more invested in proving a point to you guys than she is in actually marrying me. Yesterday, she spent 4 hours on the phone with him, her bio dad, talking about the ceremony. When I asked her about our honeymoon plans, she barely looked up from her laptop. After that call, my husband just sat at the kitchen table with his head in his hands. His legs were healing. The doctor said he might be able to use a walker with support in another month, but Luna wouldn't wait. Then things got worse. Way worse. My credit card company called me about some unusual charges. Nothing huge, just $50 here, $100 there, gas stations, fast food places, a couple grocery stores, all in towns I'd never been to. It took me 2 days to piece it together, but when I did, I felt sick. Luna had my credit card number saved from when she was in college, and I'd help her with textbook orders. She'd been using it to help her biological father with expenses, gas money, groceries, bills. When I confronted her about it, she didn't even deny it. He's struggling financially right now, she said over the phone. Like that explained everything. You guys have money. I didn't think you'd miss a couple $100s. Luna, that's theft. Oh my God, Mom, really? We're family. He's my father. He's not your father, I yelled, and then I couldn't stop. Your father is in a wheelchair in our living room crying because his daughter thinks he's less important than some stranger who. Luna hung up on me, but the credit card charges weren't the worst part. The worst part was what Luna was telling him. Private family information, details about my husband's accident, how bad it really was, that the doctors were worried about nerve damage, information about our finances, how we'd remortgaged the house 3 years ago to pay for her brother's medical bills when he had that infection. She was feeding him ammunition, and he was using it. I found out because he sent Luna a text that she accidentally showed Tyler. Tyler, thank God, forwarded it to my husband. The text said, "Your mom's family has always been about control. They keep secrets, make you feel guilty for wanting independence. But I'm different. I'm honest with you about everything. That's what real family does." My husband read that text out loud to me, his voice shaking. He's manipulating her. He's using everything she tells him to position himself as the good guy. She can't see it, I whispered. Or she doesn't want to. Tyler showed up at our house 3 days before the wedding was supposed to happen. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week. I'm postponing it, he said, sitting down across from us at the kitchen table. I told Luna I need more time to think. How did she take it? My husband asked. Tyler laughed, but there was no humor in it. She blamed you guys, said you've turned me against her, that you've ruined everything by refusing to let go of the past. He rubbed his face with both hands. She's talking about her bio dad constantly, always defending him, always explaining away weird stuff, he says. She's more invested in that relationship than in ours. We're sorry, I started. But Tyler shook his head. Don't be. I needed to see this before we got married. He looked at my husband. Can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think she's okay? Mentally, I mean. This doesn't feel like the woman I proposed to. My husband was quiet for a long moment. I think she's being groomed, he finally said. Not in a sexual way, but emotionally. He's isolating her, making her doubt everyone who actually loves her, positioning himself as the only person she can trust. It's textbook. Tyler nodded slowly. That's what I was afraid of. When Luna found out Tyler postponed the wedding, she completely lost it. She called me screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. You've ruined everything, she yelled. Everything. Tyler was fine until you filled his head with your victim bullshit. Luna, he told me you'd play the victim card, she said, and her voice went cold. He told me exactly what you'd say and exactly how you'd try to manipulate me, and he was right about everything. Who told you? My father. My real father, who actually cares about me and doesn't use me as a pawn in some decades-old grudge. Then she hung up. The next day, she moved in with him. She sent a group text to the whole family. I need space from your toxicity. Don't contact me. For a week, we heard nothing. My husband barely ate. He'd sit in his wheelchair by the window, just staring out at the street like he was waiting for her to come home. Our other kids were furious. Jake wanted to drive to wherever she was staying and drag her out. Our daughter Ashley kept calling Luna and leaving voicemails begging her to come home. Our youngest David just shut down completely, wouldn't talk about it at all. Then Ashley found stuff online. She was doing what she called casual searching, but we all knew she was digging for dirt. She found it. Her biological father had 2 ex-wives, both with restraining orders, estranged adult children from his first marriage who wouldn't talk to him, a pattern of job hopping, unpaid debts, evictions. His name showed up in small claims court records going back 15 years. Ashley put it all in an email and sent it to Luna with no commentary, just links and screenshots. Luna didn't respond, but we knew she read it because Tyler told us. Luna had called him at 2 a.m., crying, asking if he'd seen the email. Tyler said yes. Luna asked if he thought it was real or if Ashley had made it up. I told her I'd check the court records myself, Tyler said. Everything Ashley sent was accurate public record. What did Luna say? She said. Tyler paused. She said her family always does this. Digs up dirt to confirm their biases. Then she hung up on me too. But something must have shifted, because a few days later, Luna came home. She didn't call first. Just showed up when only my husband was there. I was at the grocery store. When I got back, I found them in the living room. Luna sitting on the couch. My husband in his wheelchair across from her. Neither was talking. Luna looked up when I walked in, her eyes were red. "Hi, Mom," she said quietly. "Hi, baby, I managed. I need money," she said, and her voice cracked. He's borrowed everything I had saved for the wedding for the honeymoon fund. Tyler and I had all of it. My husband pulled out his wallet without a word and handed her all the cash inside. Maybe 300. Luna took it, hands shaking. "Thank you," she whispered. "Luna," my husband said, and his voice was so gentle it made my chest hurt. "Come home, please." "I can't." She stood up. "I wouldn't look at either of us, not yet. I can't." She left. My husband cried for the first time since his accident. Not quiet tears, real sobbing, the kind that shakes your whole body. I held him until he couldn't cry anymore. "She's lost." He kept saying, "She's so lost, and I don't know how to bring her back." A few days after that, Luna apparently tried to apologize for the wedding situation. Tyler told us she came over to his apartment, tried to explain herself. "I told her it's fine," Tyler said, "but I couldn't make myself look at her. I kept thinking about your husband, you know? This man who raised her, loved her, gave her everything, and she tossed him aside for a wedding aesthetic." "What did she say?" She cried. "Asked if we were still engaged." Tyler sighed. "I told her I needed more time. She left and I haven't heard from her since." My husband asked Tyler how he was doing. "Honestly, I feel like I dodged a bullet," Tyler admitted. "I love her, or I loved who I thought she was. But this version of Luna, I don't know her at all." We later found out from Ashley that Luna had stayed at her biological father's place for about 5 days total. But those 5 days had apparently revealed some things Luna had been working very hard to ignore. He borrowed money constantly. Small amounts that added up fast. Never paid any of it back. He made comments about me that made Luna uncomfortable. Sexual comments. About my appearance. About my body. Speculation about my sex life. Luna told Tyler about this later. Said she'd felt sick but didn't know what to say. And he pressured her, constantly, to cut us off completely. To stop talking to Tyler. To stop talking to her siblings. Said we were all manipulating her. That she'd be happier without us. Luna started feeling trapped. But she couldn't leave. Because leaving would mean admitting we were right. And she'd burned so many bridges already. Then Luna did something that must have taken an enormous amount of courage. Or maybe desperation. She decided to confront him directly about the assault. Tyler told us about it later. Luna had called him right after, shaking so hard she could barely talk. She'd asked her biological father, point blank, what happened that night with me, and he told her a story. A detailed story about me pursuing him aggressively, initiating everything, then crying assault the next day when my boyfriend, my husband, found out I'd cheated. He said he stayed away for years to protect Luna from knowing her mother was a liar. Tyler said Luna described it as rehearsed, too smooth, too detailed, like he'd been practicing it. She felt sick listening to it, Tyler said, but she didn't challenge him. She just said okay and went to her room. The next day, Luna apparently did it again, but this time she recorded it on her phone. She asked him to tell her about what happened with me, said she wanted to understand his perspective, and this time the story was different. Not hugely different, but enough. The timeline didn't match. He said it happened in his apartment the first time, but the second time he said it was in my dorm room. He said it was October, then later said it was December. Small things, but things that didn't add up. When Luna pointed out the contradictions, he got irritated. "What are you doing interrogating me?" he snapped. "You sound just like your mother, paranoid and manipulative." Luna realized he was lying, but she still couldn't bring herself to leave. Then came the thing that finally broke through. A few days later, they were watching TV together, some crime show, and during a commercial break, he made a comment about Luna. Said she'd inherited her mother's looks, but the way he said it made her skin crawl. Tyler said when Luna described it to him, she actually started shaking. "He looked at me wrong," she told Tyler. Not like a father, like how guys at bars look at me when they're drunk." She said she suddenly understood something that made her feel physically ill. He didn't see her as his daughter. He saw her as connected to me, almost like an extension of me, the woman he'd assaulted. And the wedding, walking her down the aisle, being part of her life, it wasn't about loving her. It was about violating me one more time, using Luna as the weapon. That night, while he was asleep, Luna packed her stuff and left. She didn't block his number or make a big announcement, just quietly moved back home. My husband and I were asleep when we heard the front door open. It was almost midnight. We both sat up, my husband reaching for his phone to call 911 when we heard her voice. "It's just me," Luna called out, and her voice was so small. "We found her in the hallway, 2 suitcases at her feet, looking about 12 years old. Can I stay here?" she asked. "Of course," my husband said. Always. She nodded and went upstairs to her old room without another word. For the next few days, she barely left her room. Didn't eat much. Didn't sleep much either, based on the sounds of her moving around at all hours. We didn't push her to talk, just left food outside her door and made sure she knew we were there if she needed us. Then one night, about a week after she came home, I heard crying. It was coming from Luna's room, these horrible gut-wrenching sobs that made my chest ache. I knocked softly. "Luna baby, can I come in?" "Yeah," she managed. She was sitting on her bed in the dark, just crying. I sat down next to her and she immediately leaned into me. I wrapped my arms around her while she sobbed into my shoulder. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry, Mom, I'm so sorry." "Shh, it's okay," I whispered, even though it wasn't, even though I didn't know if anything would ever be okay again. We sat like that for a while, until her crying finally slowed down. She pulled back, wiping her face with her sleeve. "I look like him, don't I?" she said, and her voice was so broken. "That's why you couldn't look at me when I was little. That's why you—" "Yes," I said, because lying would have been worse. "You look like him, and yes, it made bonding with you harder than it should have been." Luna's face crumpled. "But that doesn't mean you are him," I continued, grabbing her hands. "You're not him, Luna. You're not his violence or his manipulation or any of it. You're you." We sat there in the dark, my daughter and I, while she cried for everything she'd lost and everything she was just beginning to understand.